Hello, and welcome to Global Data Themes Instant Insights. At Global Data, we define a theme as something that keeps a CEO awake at night, as businesses that invest in important themes will succeed, and those that don't will fail. Hello, and welcome to Instant Insights. I'm Emma Taylor, and today I'll be welcoming back our thematic analyst, resident expert in cybersecurity, David Bicknell, following the news that Tesco has carried out a cyberattack stress test for the first time. This found that a breach could cost Tesco up to £2.4 billion in fines. Hi, David.
Hi, Emma. Glad to be back.
So, David, this is Tesco's first stress test. What can other companies learn from this?
CEOs always want to know what competitors and rivals and other organisations that they can learn from are doing. And so the idea that Tesco was carrying out cyber attack tests would immediately get CEOs' interest. And they probably want to know whether their own organisations were carrying out similar cyber attack tests. So that's why this particular story is of interest. It looks like Tesco was ahead of the game on this, which is why other CEOs would want to know what it was all about.
Yes, I can imagine this has got their attention. So what were Tesco's testing for?
So this was an assessment of Tesco's viability, not just around cybersecurity, but also part of the discussing the macroeconomic downturn, global supply pressures, data breach, and also climate change. And the one, I guess, that was of most interest to me was what happens if Tesco suffers a data breach. What would be the impact on its business? What might be the potential costs, the potential fines, and what might that ultimately mean in terms of its relationship with its customers, the impact on customer loyalty? That was what the tests were. It wasn't so much technical tests or stress tests in terms of things like penetration tests in terms of cybersecurity. This was the business risk of a data breach. What would be the impact on Tesco, the company?
So you mentioned reputation there briefly. Why are these tests so important? What are the consequences of not carrying them out?
Well, a cyber attack can bring a company to its knees and can severely impact its reputation. I remember seeing some figures that since the beginning of 2021, directors told the Australian Institute of Company Directors and the Australian Information Security Association that cybercrime and data security is the number one issue that keeps them awake at night. And of course, on the thematic team, we talk about keeping the chief executive awake at night as a definition of a theme. And only around half, 51% of directors, say that their board has sufficient oversight of cybersecurity threats. In its report, Tesco warned that a significant data breach poses a reputational risk, resulting in a decline in customer sentiment and an adverse trading impact. Well, for Tesco, read every major company in every sector.
Yes, I mean, particularly in our current, the current cybersecurity threat landscape. Remind us, David, what does that look like right now?
So, Emma, in the wake of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, really the cyber threat landscape has markedly increased. It's been a year since the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack in the US, and there are very real risks that critical national infrastructure and businesses could face new attacks. Really, no company or organisation is safe from attack, and no CEO should be blasé enough to think a cyber attack can't happen to us. It can, and it will.
Right. Yes. Serious words of warning from our resident cybersecurity expert. Thank you, David, for coming on again. And thank you for those instant insights. Thanks for listening. And from us in Thematic Intelligence, see you next time.